Are you just getting started in Rise of Kingdoms, or are you starting a new account on a new kingdom? If so, make sure to watch this video because I'm going to give you some of the most important must-know tips when you're just getting started in Rise of Kingdoms. Hey everyone, this is Zoras, not Casuals, and in today's video, I'm gonna give you some of the most important information to know when you're just starting in Rise of Kingdom. Whether you're a new player or making a new account, there are some things that you must do right from the beginning in order to have the best experience ever. So first, my recommendation is that if you're starting something new, you should make a jumper account. What's a jumper account? Basically, when you start the game, you get two teleports that you can use when your castle level is under 8, and that means that you can start on one kingdom and jump to another kingdom and then play on that kingdom for a few days and then jump on another kingdom afterwards. It takes about 2 weeks to do that entire process, but it will mean that you're going to jump into a fresh kingdom with an account that's 2 weeks old. So if you're a low spender or you're free to play, this will make it so that you're much stronger than the people starting just normally on that kingdom. There are plenty of starter guides on how to make a jumper account. Chisgol has the best one on YouTube, so if you just type jumper guide Rise of Kingdom, it should be one of the first results and it will go in depth on everything you need to know. But my biggest tip is that you just go on the Rise of Kingdom official Discord and join their group where people are recruiting for jumpers, and just join a group for a jumper project and then use these people in that group to help you do the right things. So second, the most important thing that you have to not do when you're just starting Rise of Kingdom is to level up any of your commanders, especially legendary commanders at the beginning. Do not bring them over level 10 at all until you have managed to get their first skill like this, 5. You need this skill to be maxed before you continue going. Now, if you take this commander to level 10 and you put the stars in, you will unlock this skill, and that means that when you're going to invest sculptures like this in this commander, you're going to be having a random chance of unlocking either the first or second or any skills unlocked. That means you will screw up your legendary commanders like no other if you do this at the beginning. Look at this El Cid right now, he's 5000. Look at, for example, my Barbosa, he's 5-4. You see how I'm leveling their skills one at a time, because the first skill is almost always the best skill of every commander in this game, except the Gatherers, which you can basically do the first 2 skills because the Gathering skill is the second one. But that is the only exception. You'll see Frederick, same thing. Caesar, same thing. So I'm still working on these months into the game. So you do not want to mess this up, because if you do, you will not be able to use this commander for a long time. Now, the same thing applies for epic commanders, because their first skill is also their best one. So for example, if you start as China and you're Sun Tzu, you will want to have the first skill here at level 5 before you level them up past level 10. So you're going to use every sculpture you have until this skill is level 5, and then you're going to level that commander up. You can unlock every skill afterwards, it doesn't matter. Epic commanders are easier to repair if you mess them up, but legendary commanders are almost impossible to repair if you don't spend a lot of money. So this is a very important tip. Now, my second tip is your civilization. A new account that you plan on playing seriously must start as China, or some exceptions, you could do Britain or France, but most of the time I would say China is the best. I have an entire video about civilizations and why they're better than others, but I think that Sun Tzu has the best value in this game in the beginning. It will help you do all the content. It will help you do barbarians. It will help you do expedition. It will help you do all of the stuff that you need to do at the beginning, because he is the best epic commander in the game. And this civilization gives you a building speed boost of 5%, so it is very good to start because you're going to be building a lot at the beginning, and this will save you more speed ups than any other civilization, which you will get a free token to change your civilizations later on, which you can then use to go on the civilization that you want, but that should be after you're already castle 21. Next, another tip that's super important, especially at the beginning, is if you go in your items right here, you will see that you will have a lot of these cards here, for example, all of these resources. Now, you might not have as many as I do on this account right now, but you will still have a lot, and it will add up, especially if you spend. You do not want to use these cards at all ever. As you can see, I'm stacking mine for months now because I don't need them. You want to wait until you actually need them when you build a building. So if you go in your city and, for example, you're like, oh, I'm going to take this building up a level and you're missing resources, you'll just click on the resource and then you'll use your cards. But if you use them all at the beginning, it means that it can be stolen from you. The warehouse does not hold that many resources and you will lose them all most likely. So do not use these cards until absolutely necessary, and the longer you can stack them and wait, the better it is, because long term you will end up farming more resources than you need unless you're doing war, and then you will need those cards. Now next, alliance. This is one, if not the most important aspect of this game. Everything runs from an alliance. As you can see here, there's a button right here that says alliance. If you're not into one, you will just join one. Now try to join any active alliance with a lot of members, and hopefully a strong one with a lot of spenders, because you'll get a lot of rewards from these gifts. For example, as you can see, you get a lot of stuff for free by just being in an alliance. But the most important thing when you're just getting started is the help system. Now, as you can see here, when you're doing something in alliance, you can help your allies up to a certain amount of times, and see if I help them, it will take some time off of their own building. Now here, for example, I'm healing troops, so if I click the help button here, I am calling for help from my alliance. Now you see I'm asking for help, and every time someone helps me, it will take either a percentage off or a few minutes off of my actual action. So when you're building at the early game, you'll have 15, 10, 20 helps. You have to make sure that this entire bar is full before you start building with speed ups. So for example, now 7 helps have been given to me in the last few seconds. See, I've saved 21 minutes from that alone. So that means that it's 21 minutes of speed ups that I get to keep. So when you're researching, when you're healing, and when you're building, you want to make sure that you're waiting for this to be completely full, and you just check like this. You just go and see when it's full, whatever your capacity is, then you can go and use speed ups, but only then. Now also, when getting started and building up and researching everything, you will have access to these sanctums or the altars or the shrines later on, which drop runes when the guardians are killed. Now you can see that there are such runes that increase your building and research speed. So if you get some of these, use them before doing big upgrades. Of course, as you push up, your castle level will take longer and longer. So 4% of 10 minutes is not a lot, but 4% of 2 days is a lot. So this is something that will really help. If you do it from the beginning, your account will get much further for a lot less cost. Also, something very important when you're just getting started and you're spending speed ups on your buildings or your research. When you are upgrading a training building, so any of these, for example, or you're upgrading the academy, now it will be very important that you use speed ups on them. You will of course wait for your 30 helps from your alliance, but then you make sure that you speed that up, because the whole time that it's building up, it is not training or it is not researching. So you're wasting hours of time with that building doing nothing if you don't speed it up. So you queue it up, you wait for your help, and right away you speed it up, and then you can go back and train or research, so that you have no amount of time wasted just waiting to be built. Because every minute that is spent being built is a minute that's not spent being researching or training, and it's basically wasted time. So this is where you're going to use your speed ups in priority, and do not queue up one of these buildings if you don't have the amount of speed ups needed to rush it right away. In that same term, make sure that when you go to bed, you queue up some research that take 5, 6, 10 hours. Same for training. When you get to a point where you can train a certain amount of unit that lasts more than 8 hours, make sure that you time it so that you do it right away before bed, so that you have no downtime when you're sleeping. You're waking up, you collect your troops, you train right away. Nothing has been wasted. It's been researching or training all night long. Now, I recommend that you never use universals on anything but research and maybe training. The reason for that is, you can see as a later account, after a few months of playing, you will get to a point where all your buildings are level 25 already. And what does that mean? See, 25, 25, everything's 25 almost. So now I'm accumulating all of these speed ups, which are for building. And as you can see, I have hundreds of hours of them, but I have nothing to build anymore. So I have nothing to spend them on. Now, there is a thing in the game that lets you transfer them into training, but it doesn't let you transfer a lot of them. So you will be stuck with a lot of this. Now, if from the beginning of the game you've been using your universals on everything but building, that means that you will be using these building speedups only for building, and that will save you a lot of speedups, because early in the game people go on and spend all of these universal speedups all the way into building, and then they get to a point where they've wasted thousands of hours of speedups to build up, and then a few weeks later they're fully built, and then they have nothing to do with these speedups, which could have been used to research very good tech instead, or train tons of troops. So that is something that I always recommend. You always want to keep your universals only for important stuff, if you're pushing for an event, if you're researching or even training troops, but I would still focus on research, because research is the biggest long-term investment in this game, and the more of you speedups you save for it, the better your account will be in the long term. Now as well, when using speedups, you want to try and wait for some special events. Now there's going to be a lot of events here. Every few days you'll have some special events that will pop up, such as Mighty as Governor, which happens every 2 weeks, and there's other power events that you will have to push power to get a lot of rewards. Now if you're just boosting and speeding up every time, every day, you're just basically not getting a lot of value from it. If you're gonna push power only when there's an event, that means that you'll get extra reward for when you're pushing that power. So it is good to save up and push only when there's something double beneficial for it. Now, when you're in the early game, what is very important is that you use the energy that you have here every day. This regenerates over time. It is what is needed to kill barbarians or to rally barbarian forts, which are both very, very worthwhile time investment and energy investment for your account. Now, you do not want to use potions until you're pre-KVK or in KVK, because you'll turn your potions into much more value if you wait. But at the beginning, when you're logging on every day, just make sure to use everything you have here, and when it's recovering, go back and spend it. Either attack some barbarians with peacekeeper commanders or rally some barbarian forts to get more resource and speed ups, but don't waste it. Don't let it be full and not do anything with it. As well, one thing that's very important that you do every day is that you go here and you do these daily quests. It's very easy to do all this stuff. You have to do basically stuff that is in the game already. There's nothing that you have to go out of your way to do here. Just research, training, gathering, and this will give you 100 gems a day, and you'll get 2 keys, and you'll get a lot of extra stuff here. So that's really, really important. Now you can see I'm getting 5 sculptures every day. That is something that will really, really help your account. If you do this from day one and you never miss a day, this will expertise all your epic commanders within a few months, just for free to play. Now, the last tip I want to give you, if you're just getting started in Rise of Kingdom and you want to have a long-term fun experience, is try to avoid war and try to do good diplomacy. Now, it's fine to fight at the beginning a little bit and have some fun with tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 units, but if you want to have the best experience in Rise of Kingdom, it is much better to be with a united kingdom and be in one of the strong alliances of that kingdom in order to build up your strength and be good in the first KVK, which will be where most of the fun and war is happening. Now, if your kingdom is having a lot of fight, a lot of wars, people don't see eye to eye, look for another kingdom. Migration is very easy in this game. You have to make sure that your account is looked after. Now, I'm not saying leave your kingdom if anything bad happens, if there's one little fight or something like that, but there are kingdoms that just fight and never ever stop fighting or never start agreeing with each other. And if you don't build a strong foundation of a kingdom, you will not have a great KVK one and you will want to quit the game. So it is much better to try and find yourself a home that matches your playstyle and your play hours, as well as maybe your language if needed, to make sure that you have the best experience in Rise of Kingdom and that you be able to play this game for a long time. Whether you're a free-to-play or a spender, this game can be tremendously fun, but you need to be with the right people in the right context to have all that fun. Now guys, if you have any questions on getting started, make sure to go onto our playlist that is in the description. We have a lot of beginner guides and tips about commanders, Ark of Osiris, KVK strategy on our channel. Now make sure to also go in the comment of this video or join us on our Discord, which is in the description, and come and ask me any of your questions and I will be happy to help you with anything. Also make sure to drop a like on this video because it really helps our channel get noticed, and make sure to subscribe if you like Rise of Kingdom content every week or any other strategy games that we cover. We have a lot of content coming out, so make sure to stay up to date by being subscribed. Thank you guys for watching and we'll see you next time.